Hey everyone, today on People Now, a royal wedding. Hear all about Princess Beatrice's quiet wedding. We have all the details. Tamar Braxton reportedly hospitalized for an alleged suicide attempt. We'll tell you what we've learned. It's a People exclusive. Lin-Manuel Miranda is talking about living his American dream, and hear how he used rap to win over his wife.
It's a hugely iconic role.
Kat Dennings is here talking all about the Sandman, and where can fans expect to see her next in the Marvel Universe? Plus, The Alienist is back. We are chatting with Dakota Fanning, Luke Evans, and Daniel Bruhl all about The Alienist, Angel of Darkness, and the stars' tight friendship on set. That and so much more today on People Now. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to People Now. I'm Andrea Boehlke here in Wisconsin. It's a great day out today, really beautiful. Hope you're having a great Friday so far and hope you're able to do something fun this weekend wherever you are. So we have a lot to get to today. We're talking to the stars of The Alienist, which is really exciting. Also, Kat Dennings is here. It's a great packed show. But first, we start out with this. Here's what you need to know and what's trending for your Friday. There is a royal wedding. Princess Beatrice and Edoardo Mapelli-Mozzi quietly wed on Friday in Windsor. A statement from Buckingham Palace states that the private wedding took place at 11 a.m. on the 17th of July at the Royal Chapel of All Saints, which is just a short drive from the castle. The statement notes that the wedding took place in accordance with all relevant government guidelines, with about 20 close family and friends present, including Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, along with Beatrice's father, Prince Andrew. The Sun broke the news that the Queen had to leave the nuptials early for Captain Tom Moore's knighthood ceremony, where she bestowed on him back at the castle. The Queen's granddaughter and the Italian property developer's royal wedding had been set for May 29th, but like many engaged couples, they had to cancel their planned nuptials due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Now, as Edoardo's wife, Beatrice will become stepmother to his young son, born in 2016. A friend of Beatrice previously told People, quote, "Beatrice has embraced the child as part of her life from the outset, and it was easily one of the best dads. He is so involved, and Beatrice is already showing that she's a fantastic stepmommy." Tamar Braxton has been hospitalized following reports of a possible suicide attempt. According to The Blast, the singer and reality TV star was reportedly found unresponsive in her downtown Los Angeles hotel room Thursday night by her boyfriend, David. The outlet says the Los Angeles Police Department fielded a call at 9:45 p.m. about a woman with a possible overdose. Reps for Braxton and the LAPD did not immediately respond to People's request for comment. In a statement to The Blast, a spokesperson for Braxton said she had a very tough and emotional day. They added, quote, "More information will be coming in the next few days, and please pray for her." Braxton and her boyfriend's show, Coupled in Quarantine, which they regularly live stream on YouTube, did not air as planned on Thursday. Instead, the channel posted a 10-minute video with just a statement to fans that said, "Tamar is under the weather today and not feeling well, so we need to postpone today's show. And don't worry, it's not COVID." Braxton's hospitalization came the same day that WeTV debuted the trailer for her new series, Tamar Braxton, Get Your Life. In the candid super tease shared exclusively with People, fans got a look at the upcoming series, which explores the star's journey with motherhood, love, and her career as she records a new album. Later in the trailer, Braxton introduces cameras to David. Since making their relationship public in April of 2019, Braxton has gushed over her new man. She told People last year that marriage is not off the table with him. According to a news report, former employees at the Ellen DeGeneres show are claiming they were subject to a toxic work environment. BuzzFeed News says they talked to 10 former and 1 current employee, all of whom wish to remain anonymous for fear of retribution. DeGeneres has built her brand on the motto, "Be kind," but the former employees claim that behind the scenes they faced racism, fear, and intimidation. Executive producers of the show responded to the allegations in a statement to BuzzFeed News, saying that they take the stories of the employees very seriously. They added that they are, quote, "heartbroken and sorry to learn that even one person in our production family has had a negative experience. It's not who we are and not who we strive to be and not the mission Ellen has set for us." They also said in the statement that as many in the world are learning, they know they need to do better, are committed to do better, and will do better. No specific claims were made against DeGeneres, and one former employee suggested that producers hid workplace complaints from her. Former employees alleged they were told by their direct managers to not speak with DeGeneres if they saw her around the office. According to BuzzFeed News, the claims made by former employees include being fired for taking medical leave or bereavement days to attend family funerals. One person claimed she, quote, "essentially walked off the job after she couldn't take any more comments about her race." Most of the former employees put the blame for the toxicity on senior management. However, one employee told BuzzFeed News that it is DeGeneres' name on the show, so she, quote, really needs to take more responsibility. In a People exclusive, actor, writer, and Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda is opening up about how he won over his wife. In high school, Lin-Manuel was a self-professed nerd. One day, he noticed a stunning girl named Vanessa, but was too shy to talk to her. In fact, he was so shy that he says he may have only exchanged 5 words with her by the time they graduated. It would take him another 7 years to finally make things official with Vanessa, and here's how he did it. In 2005, Lin-Manuel sent Vanessa a Facebook message inviting her to check out his new freestyle hip-hop group, Freestyle Love Supreme. As you do. He tried to talk to her after the show, they connected, stayed in touch, but it was a few months before they saw each other again when Vanessa asked him out. I love that. You go, Vanessa. Lin-Manuel tells us it must have been his freestyle skills that impressed her, which makes sense. The thing that won Vanessa over happens to be the thing that made millions of people all over the world fall in love with him too. Now, in case you need a little refresher here, Lin-Manuel first caught the eye of American Broadway fans with his Tony-winning musical In the Heights. This photo is from the upcoming movie version, which we are so excited about. Then he took the world by storm with his record-breaking smash hit Broadway musical Hamilton, about America's founding fathers, which is now streaming on Disney+. The show has won Lin-Manuel a Grammy, multiple Tony Awards, a Pulitzer Prize, and more. And now you can see the brilliance behind Lin-Manuel Miranda in the documentary We Are Freestyle Love Supreme. He calls Freestyle Love Supreme his opposing muscle group of all my other work, adding, quote, the degree to which it's affected my writing is pretty remarkable. I really was chasing the feeling of what it was like freestyling with that group of friends. We Are Freestyle Love Supreme is now streaming on Hulu, so check it out. All right, stay with us. The Alienist is back for a second season, and the show stars Dakota Fanning, Luke Evans, and Daniel Bruhl are telling us all about it. Plus, as if we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the iconic comedy Clueless.
It's not upon you to finish the task, but you're not absolved from trying. So you may not get to that part of the rainbow.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we're letting you off the hook from trying,
Yes.
at least making a few steps of more progress.
To get a little MLK on it, no matter what our race, creed, religion, if we all do that every day to work to make the world a little bit better, it gets better.
All right, guys, the United Shades of America with W. Kamau Bell is back for season 5 to tackle even more difficult conversations from across the country. To learn more about the show, we are joined by W. Kamau Bell right now. I know season 5 is kicking off. Obviously, a lot of anticipation for that. I'm sure that you're excited to see it finally get out there. And also, it's such a pivotal time that everything that's going on in our country, to have the conversations that you're having and to see these interactions and hopefully to learn and grow together. What do you make of the moment we're in? What do you hope for the future?
I mean, right now, America's sort of getting a gut check where it's like, what are we as a country? What do we want to be? Are we actually the greatest country on earth, or is this the end of the empire? You know, Roman Empire, British Empire, they thought they were going to be here forever too. So I think right now, this is really a gut check moment for this country.
Why do you think your show's a must watch right now for the times we live in?
I never
From your
think of it as a
perspective.
must-watch stuff. Yeah. Well, because I have a family I'm trying to feed.
Got to pay the rent, got to feed the kids. Got it.
Yeah. These kids want to eat every day. So I think a lot of the issues that people are talking about or struggling with how to talk about, we demonstrate how to talk about on the show. So a lot of the things that people are like, I know these things are problems, but I don't know how to put them into words, or I don't know what to do about them. The show is about showing people how to talk about them, and then also connecting people with action and how to sort of go into their community and make your community better. So I think in that sense, people right now are sort of at home, sort of all this stuff is bouncing around in their heads or on their social media, but let's actually have the conversation.
I like that. They're sort of the next step. Like, what does activation look like, right? Like, what does it mean to put the hands and feet to the feeling? Famously,
I mean, remember when Trump first got in office and people just started changing their Facebook photos or Twitter avatars, they thought that'll do it. Resist.
Well, it is kind of wild how simultaneously social media obviously provides a great platform to motivate people and to bring people to coalesce around movements and things like that. But there's also this, I guess, sort of a false sense of activism, perhaps, that comes from it, right? Like, oh, I did something because I posted something, which it's like it's something, but it's not everything.
No, and I think and I think nothing is everything, but some things are less everything than others, is what I would say. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I like that.
So, I mean, it's fine to do that. It's fine to do that because I believe if you're a white person and you put Black Lives Matter as your Twitter avatar, you're going to get into some conversations. But that's not the way you make Black Lives Matter ultimately, is by changing your Twitter avatar.
Right. And engaging in conversations more and more, I feel like is part of what helps that. So in the first episode, there's an emotional moment. You talked to and interviewed the rabbi of a Pittsburgh synagogue that was attacked by a white supremacist. What was that interview like for you? Why was it important for you to share that?
You know, I'm a big believer in intersectionality. That, you know, I think in America, a lot of times we get caught up in the debates about racism or hate, and it's a black and white paradigm of like sort of a white Christian narrative versus a black Christian narrative. And so I think it's important to, especially in a place like Pittsburgh, where it's not just a black and white city, to bring in other people who have also dealt with hate in that city. And the attack on the Tree of Life, as far as I understand, is the worst attack on Jewish people in the history of this country. So it seems to me that if we were to go there and not talk about that, well, what are we saying about wanting to end hatred? Or what are we saying about wanting to be anti-racist? So as often happens when you sit down with a member like a rabbi or a priest or a person who's really connected to their community, you come out feeling hopeful in ways you don't expect. So Rabbi Meyer really made me feel hopeful in ways I didn't expect, even though he was there and witnessed this horrible attack.
What was was there any tidbit of anything that he said that particularly made you feel hopeful?
It's funny, he said at one point, like, because they're rebuilding the Tree of Life and they're trying to figure out what the plan is, but they definitely want to still have it as a synagogue, even though it was the place of this attack. And one thing he said I thought was great, he's like, you know, when people attack you for being Jewish, the thing you should do is do more Jewish. And I thought that was just a great way to think about it, like not to hide, but actually we're going to make this the most Jewish place in the history of Jewishism, just so that people know we're not afraid of this.
You also interviewed your mom in that first episode. What'd you learn from her? Anything new?
I mean, for me, I know my mom is great.
Right.
If you're friends with my mom on Facebook, you know she's great. It was really just about me. If people talk about giving the platform, it was really just about me giving her the platform to just do what she does. This is about white supremacy. She's an 83-year-old black woman who's lived her whole life in America. She's an expert on this subject. So I was happy to sit down and talk to her.
Giving us some insight. I would imagine, and maybe this is like turns it a little bit, that you go into situations to interview people, to talk to people with a certain expectation of what they're going to be like or what worldview you're going to get. Have you ever been surprised or have you learned something new about people that you've encountered that was a total flip of what you went in expecting?
Yeah, I mean, that happens. It happens pretty regularly, honestly. I remember we did an episode in season 2, I think it was, about Muslims in small town America. And we were in Dearborn and Hamtramck, Michigan. And I was told I was going to sit down with a young man. He was in his, I think he was 21, early 20s. And he was a devout Muslim, but also openly gay. And many people feel like those things are pulling in separate directions. So I was like, and he had also, I read in his bio, had been the victim of like his community had turned on him, his mom had turned on him. And so, but he was still practicing Islam and was still like a devout Muslim. And so I was like, I sat down with this young man and he was young, expecting to find a broken individual. And he was very at peace and humble and thoughtful and super smart. And I was like, I want to be like, I think you're my leader now. Like, I just felt like I came here to like console you, and I feel like you're consoling me, and I didn't know I needed to be consoled.
All right, before you go, you've been very active on social media talking about the Washington football team changing their name. What are your thoughts on the decision? Why it's important?
I mean, I feel like the Washington football team and Dan Snyder are going down kicking and screaming. Like, this is clearly not something that they've come to on their own. They haven't been enlightened. They just had, and the people haven't convinced them. It's money. Sponsors have told them, we're done with this. And so they have to change the name. But you can see that they're not doing it willingly. But it's sort of interesting that like they're being forced to do it anyway. So I'm glad they're changing the name.
And so what would your suggestion, if you had your vote, new name, what are you going with? Any thoughts?
I first of all, I'm not from the DC area, so I feel a little bit like I'm not the person.
Right.
But you know, DC has a vibrant music community and a music style they invented. So I'd go with the Washington Go-Go's.
The Washington Go-Go's.
Yes.
It works its way into chants. Like, running for the touchdown. Go, go, go.
Yeah, exactly. Go.
It makes sense.
That's what I would suggest.
I doubt that's going to be it, but it does make sense. And I think.
I doubt that that's going to make the top 10 names, but that's if I was in charge, if I owned the team, I would name. I could do a Dan Snyder, do a name whatever I wanted to.
There you go. Hey, thank you for taking some time today. It's really good to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And guys, you can catch season 5 of United Shades of America. It premieres Sunday, July 19th at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Australian professional swimmer Annette Kellerman was one of the first women to attempt to swim the English Channel, and she caused waves in the early 1900s when she competed in a men's one-piece suit instead of the traditional swimming costume. She gained popularity through her mermaid shows, where she would entertain crowds with her diving, swimming, and dancing. This week, we are honoring Annette in the latest episode of People and Katie Couric's #See Her Story. It's a weekly video series celebrating female trailblazers from the past 100 years. Take a look.
She seized the opportunity to promote fitness to women, urging them to exercise and be proud of their bodies. In 1914, she launched her own line of swimwear based on her once scandalous one-piece. They sold so well that in America, a one-piece bathing suit was simply called an Annette Kellerman.
To see more of Annette's and other #See Her Story episodes, head to people.com.
I am a passenger. I am moving through your dreams. All your dreams. And you never knew.
The first ever audio adaptation of DC's The Sandman, with a cast led by James McAvoy, is available now exclusively on Audible. And Jeremy caught up with co-star Kat Dennings, who voices the role of Death, Dream's older sister in the series. They talked all about the project, her friendship with Neil Gaiman, and so much more.
Let's dive into this new project, The Sandman. Look, people are fans of the series, fans of Neil Gaiman in general. Did you have connection to the subject matter or him beforehand?
Yes, for some reason, Neil and I became really close friends on Twitter like 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. I think I tweeted about loving one of his books, and he messaged me and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And we've just been really close friends ever since. And when this happened, I don't know why he thought of me for Death.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, you got to have that. Like, you know what? You came to mind right away. Death.
Listen, when I think of Death, you're the first person that comes to mind. But it's a hugely iconic role. This series, obviously, for the fans of The Sandman, is like a huge masterwork. I mean, it is untouchable. I mean, it's also very hard to bring to life. There's been a lot of attempts at making it, but it's so complicated and so like layered that this is almost the truest way to do it. For fans of the graphic novels, this is pretty unfiltered, pretty much just true to the comics. So without the visual element, I mean, the fans of the comic will be able to fill that in themselves, and I think they'll be very happy.
I've seen some descriptions of the character as kind of like, can be sort of qualified as sort of quirky, sort of goth in terms of her. Well, and that's what I was going to say, those characteristics have been at least a part of your public persona and different roles and things. Is that a connecting point? And is that a misconception about you, or is that truly who you are?
Well, I wouldn't say that I'm goth inside, but
It's not who your heart is. Okay.
I'm certainly a little bit goth on the outside. I mean, look at me. I'm the color of the wall behind me. But I do connect with those types of things. That's the kind of the tone that I prefer. I mean, I'm more drawn to the mysterious and the kind of darker side of things. So I very much connected to that. I was so beyond, I mean, I was flabbergasted when Neil asked me to do this, because that's how this happened. Is he was like, hey, would you do the voice of Death? And I was just like, are you sure? Have you heard me talk? So yeah, I do connect a lot with that, and I'm very drawn to it.
Yeah. So in The Sandman, there's 7 godlike siblings. Here we go. Death, dream, desire, despair, destiny, destruction, and delirium.
Yes.
Which of those are you most days, if you had to identify with one?
I'd say nowadays I'm a mix of despair and delirium. That's kind of where I'm hovering.
What do you do about that? Like, how do you kind of bring yourself out of it, or are you good at just sort of like, let me soak in it for a minute and then move on?
I'm bad at that.
You're bad at it. Okay.
But I've been, honestly, the garden has been really helpful.
Yeah.
I had a sad window visit with a loved one last night. It's just so sad.
Why was it sad? Just because you couldn't touch and be in the room?
Just because you can't touch that person.
Right.
You know, but it is what it is right now. It's the best thing. But yeah, and also, I mean, listen, I'm 34 and I'm playing Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, but whatever.
Okay. Hey,
Whatever
you have to
it
pass the time.
Yes.
No, I actually really appreciate that about you. I think that's awesome. There should be no like even hint of shame about those things. Come on.
Well, I'm not going out like so many people are, like a bunch of crazy people.
Neil Gaiman confirmed that there's a Netflix TV series of The Sandman that's underway. Casting has began before the pandemic. Any chance you're going to be in that? Any word?
Oh God, I don't think, because I firmly belong to the Marvel Universe.
Right. Can't happen.
It can't happen. I'm a part of the Marvel family, but it's kind of I'll be so excited to watch it. And of course, like if things were, I don't know, if like the rules of those universes didn't exist, that would be something I would love, but I'll be so happy to watch it.
I've been stalking your Instagram, and I happened upon a photo of Harry Styles, and
oh my God!
And then our producer was like, "Wait, was she in the room?"
No. I'm so, I was like, "Oh my God, girl, you still got it." If people truly think that you were in the same room as Harry.
And have you had people thought that, right? Like, wait, why are you hanging out with Harry? What are you guys doing?
People thought I was taking the photo of Harry Styles and I was dating Harry Styles somehow. It was great. I mean, for me, it was great. Certainly not true. He seems great. I've never met him. He seems lovely.
But nonetheless,
I'll take the W though.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And there will always be people out there that will kind of passively see it and will think back and be like, oh yeah, Kat dating, yeah.
Oh, she dated Harry Styles. Oh, she's a stud.
Yeah, remember?
For sure.
So let's talk about, you mentioned Marvel, this Disney Plus WandaVision action that you're going through. Set to premiere in December. I'm assuming that's still the case. What's the status of that? And tell me about your experience with that.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, you know how it goes with Marvel. I can't really say anything.
Of course,
but,
right.
I think if anyone can release something in the middle of a pandemic, it's them.
Of course.
But I can't really confirm it because I actually don't know anything.
Yeah.
So
well, we heard that most filming had already happened before the shutdown, and I wondered if you had more. Do you have more to do?
I don't know. Do I?
Okay.
You know that if I were to tell anyone anything, it would be you, right? But I can't.
Thank you. That's what I assumed. So reprising the role as Darcy Lewis from Thor in WandaVision, is there any tease in how the character fits into the series? Anything at all that you can say?
I know when I read it, I was just delighted. I think anyone who likes Darcy will be really happy with what they did here.
And then final question about anything like that. When we last spoke in November, I asked you if you were going to be in the new Thor. You said you didn't know, but maybe it's possible. Any update? Should fans hold out hope?
I still don't know.
Okay.
I still genuinely don't know.
Fingers crossed, Kat Dennings, let's do this.
Man, I'm dating Harry Styles and I'm in all these new Thor movies. It's just like a crazy time.
The developments are wild for you during COVID.
Crazy time.
Yeah. Okay, last, before we go, the Hulu show Dollface, renewed for season 2. Any dream guest stars you'd love to have? Or maybe ones that are happening, that are planned?
Oh my God. Well, I would personally love to see my character Jewel's parents. That's something that I was kind of like really gunning for early on. So, I mean, wouldn't it be like the best if it was Fran Drescher?
Honestly, that would be mind blowing.
I love her so much. She's amazing. I read her book I got it out of the library when I was like 8. She's just incredible. Right. That would be like the dream, but.
All right, Fran Drescher, Dollface season 2. We're putting it out there in the universe. Let's make it.
So many rumors.
I know. This interview is just like spinning all kinds of stuff.
You can listen to Kat Dennings as Death in The Sandman, available now exclusively on Audible.
Do not abandon hope, Laszlo. I and my detective agency are at your disposal.
Another child is missing.
You need a detective, Senora.
It's been been some time since all three of us have been together.
There's always a trail.
I'll take care of this scandalous lady detective.
The Alienist is back after more than 2 years with the second season, The Alienist, Angel of Darkness. This time, Dakota Fanning's character, Sarah Howard, has moved up in the professional world and is running her own detective agency, while she, along with Dr. Chrysler and John Moore, reunite to find the Spanish consular's kidnapped infant daughter. I spoke with the cast all about returning to the series, the show's parallels to the modern world, and much more. Watch. Now, season 1 was such a hit. Did you feel any sort of anxiety or pressure over getting season 2 right, Daniel?
Well, yes and no. I think when I was sent the scripts for season 2, I felt very confident. And I discussed it with my wife, who's a real alienist, and it's always very interesting and important for me to know what she thinks about my work. And she said that it resonated more with her than season 1 because it touches even more universal subjects and themes. And it is true that yeah, we deal with a lot of current subject matters.
All I want is to be worthy of you, Sarah.
Dakota and Luke, your characters have this great romantic tension, which we always love. So no spoilers here, but as actors, do you want them to get together, or is it more fun to play the tension? Dakota?
I think that what I can say is that, John and Sarah still have some unfinished business that, you will see play out. And I think that it was fun. I don't want to say what I root for, because that could possibly give something away, but I definitely root for John and Sarah's friendship, and I think that they see each other in a way that other people don't see them. And I also love the scenes between Sarah and John alone, because I think we see Sarah Howard have to be so tough and so strong and has such a hard exterior to be taken seriously in the world that she's living in. And when she's with John, she can be a young woman, and sort of let that guard down and show her vulnerability and open up a little bit. And so I think that those scenes are very lovely between them, and I loved them in the first season. I love them in the second season too.
There's an energy between them. There's a history between them. Obviously, John is in the first season. We know how he feels about her. It doesn't happen, but they're still in each other's lives, and life is long and complicated, as we know. So, who knows what will happen, but they're two very interesting people who care very much about each other, and that will unfold, and you will see a very interesting story there. But we shouldn't tell you any more, otherwise you may as well not watch it.
Dakota, you've spoken about how modern this show is when it comes to the role of women, even in the late 1890s. Your character is in this leadership position now. What aspect of your character's journey do you personally relate to the most?
I think that playing Sarah this time around really highlighted the role of women in the workplace, and sort of the ways in which, as a woman, you feel like the equivalent of needing to put an exclamation point at the end of an email to make sure that you sound nice and friendly, and those little things. We kind of see the 1897 version of that with Sarah, and kind of that struggle of being friendly and smiling and, being seen as, putting on that happy face for the world around you, for the men around you, and how that's wrong, and how that shouldn't be. It's important as women to be able to have that balance of to be able to be direct and to speak up and to fight for what we want, and not feel the need to put the exclamation point at the end of the email, because yes and no are complete sentences, but at the same time, we should be allowed to use our inherent female sensibilities as a strength as well. And I think that's something that we also show with Sarah, is that her ability for empathy and her ability for compassion and her non-judgmental nature allows her to see into the crimes that she's attempting to solve as a detective in a different way.
We see her learning to assert her independence, take charge of her career, and it makes me wonder, because you've been in the business for a long time, started acting at a young age, found so much success. I'm curious if there was a distinct point in your career where you felt like you kind of were relating to her, you really took charge, made that shift, and felt empowered. Was there a moment for you?
Coming back to a character and a story in a second season is a different experience because you feel a different level of protection for the characters and the story that you're telling because you've done it before. So I think for me, actually filming The Angel of Darkness, I felt a very clear sense of empowerment that, I knew Sarah Howard best here. And, when I felt that I wanted to fight for something, or if something didn't feel right, I did not, I was not afraid to speak my mind. Not that I ever have been, but I do think as I get older and, I've been acting for quite some time. I'm 26 and I've been acting since I was 6. So when I am on a set and I do feel very confident in my experience and in myself. And I think it's important for people, men and women, actors, crew, producers, directors, to see women speaking up for themselves. And I try to be that example.
Absolutely. Besides focusing on the role of women in society, season 2 also focuses on issues like the corruption of institutions, income inequality. Even though this was a long time ago, what parallels do you see between society as depicted on the show and society today? Luke, do you see those parallels?
There's a very strong storyline about Sarah Howard and and her detective agency, and it's an all-female detective agency, and her fight for equality and her fight to have a voice, which we see she now has. But they're still not equal. It's still not right, and there's still, a corrupt police force and a really dangerous backdrop in New York City of corruption. There's racism, which has been rife from day one in this city, New York City, in 1897. It was there, and we're still dealing and fighting those issues to this day.
To see that you always need a couple of, modern liberal minds to make a change. And it's funny that mankind is always able to advance and to learn something from history. And then there's always these steps back that we are, witnessing and experiencing right now. Unfortunately, we always have to experience the worst to then make a change, but at least what we are, experiencing at the moment with the Black Lives Matter movement is that there is an eruption which goes around the world, and the message is heard loud and clear that we have to close that chapter. We don't need racism. It's the worst virus of all. So I'm always confident, because otherwise you lose hope, that, the future will bring something good.
Obviously some very intense scenes, but just switching gears here, I want to hear about just a fun moment that comes to mind when you think about filming this. What was the wildest or funniest story or thing to happen while on set for the second season? Let's start with you, Dakota.
There's so many. I mean, one of the biggest highlights of this experience is the friendship between the three of us, and also between the other cast members that came back, Doug Smith and Matt Shear and Bob Wisdom, and it was really all of our friendships were so strong, and it was great to get back together, and there's never a dull moment. Luke was recording his album during the shoot, so Daniel and I got many a live preview of all of the songs.
Okay.
It was a real treat.
They were basically my first critics.
We're like throwing potatoes at him in the tent.
No, it was lovely. It was nice, and I was super excited. And these guys are like family. We know each other really, really well, like really well. And so you can expose yourself in a vulnerable way when you trust somebody. And that was a really scary moment to play my music.
You all have so much going on, but Dakota, you are acting with your sister in an upcoming movie for the first time, The Nightingale, which hasn't filmed yet. So what is it about this project that is finally getting the two of you together? Because people are so excited.
I know, we were supposed to start filming. We were supposed to leave like 3 days after the quarantine started. So it's as soon as it's safe, that'll be the next thing on the agenda for myself and for Elle. You know, I think it's such a popular book, The Nightingale. There are so many fans of it. I think the story is really a love story between two sisters, and I think that's what we always wanted to do when we finally acted together. It's like we both can't get through reading the script without being in tears. We're like, how are we gonna get through making the movie? But I think that the real life emotional connection between us as sisters is going to come through, and I'm so excited and can't wait.
You can watch the 2-hour season premiere of The Alienist, Angel of Darkness, Sunday, July 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern on TNT. 2 episodes will air each Sunday in the 4-week event, leading up to the finale on August 9th.
When Clueless hit theaters July 19th, 1995, it instantly became a comedy classic. With her sharp, witty dialogue, pop culture references, loud but relatable fashions, and the ultimate heart of gold, Alicia Silverstone was launched into stardom. Cher Horowitz became the ultimate teen comedy queen, and she owes it all to the queen behind the scenes, writer and director, Amy Heckerling, who is here now. How are you?
I'm better than a lot of people, so I'm thankful.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you've taken some time for us today. Really appreciate it. Let's talk about this. Clueless celebrating 25 years. For me, it's hard for me to believe it as a fan. How does that make you feel?
Well, you know, I mean, I can't believe that I actually did it when I was only 10 years old. It's amazing.
It's an amazing thing. Child prodigy.
Yeah.
And then you rewatch it. It's incredible for me, I think, as you look back, you know, the fashion and some of those types of pop culture things have changed, but it's aged really well, I think. I feel like most people I know that have watched it feel the same way. What do you credit that to? Why do you think that it's done such a good job over the past, couple decades?
Can I give props to Jane Austen?
Of course.
The story is a lot borrowed from a very classic, wonderful novel by one of the great geniuses of literature. And if you read what her books have in them, they're completely timeless. They really get into what's going on with people, even though they didn't have telephones and or computers or whatever. It's just, what people go through is universal. And when somebody's smart and witty, like Jane Austen, writes about it, it lasts.
And now it's streaming and re-releasing on Blu-ray. Have you been surprised, or have you encountered new younger fans that are just kind of finding it for the first time?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get all sorts of, comments and things on Instagram and people posting stuff. I love when new people see things and relate to it. It's the best thing ever.
I've got a very specific question for you. One of our producers, Stefan, is obsessed about this particular thing. There's a moment in the trailer where Cher and Dion are in the bathroom. They're talking to Amber. It didn't make it into the final cut. And the question is, what was going on in that scene?
I remember that scene, and it didn't make it in because I felt like, well, you want to have a certain pace, and it wasn't adding that much to the story. She wanted to borrow their mascara, and she, Amber looks at it and goes, Maybelline. And Alicia says, shuffle the cards and deal. And then she says something snarky, and they make a comment because she has her hair, and they go, I missed this month's Sassy. Is big hair back? And I don't know if you remember Sassy, but
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was very inspirational.
I love how you can recall that scene so quickly and remember every detail about it. Is there a moment in the movie particularly that, I know you've been asked about this, everything about it, but is there something that you really love the most? This moment is the one that makes you very happy?
Well, as far as I'm proud of the RSVP on the Statue of Liberty.
It does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty.
For me, one of the most fun scenes is the freeway.
Yo, you're getting on the freeway.
What?
No, turn right. Get out of the lane.
Wait,
No.
okay.
Forget the procedure. Just get out the lane.
That's very personal to me. And it has nothing to do with other sources of literature. It's just stuff that happens to me where, you know, periodically you don't plan to, but you're in a lane and you're going to be on the freeway. And that's
that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Were there any other deleted scenes or moments that didn't make it that you recall and think, man, it's too bad the world didn't get to see that one?
Well, there's a billion scenes in drafts that we didn't get to shoot a lot that wasn't seen in the film because it wasn't a big budget and it wasn't a lot of time. But there were different versions where, I mean, at one point, I wanted Cher to be pulled over by a policeman when she's, you know, ran through the red light.
Hello? There was a stop sign? I totally paused.
Is there a favorite look that you have from someone, some cast member or moment in terms of style, the fashion?
Oh my God, what's my, well, you know, the yellow plaid means a lot to us because, you know, we were struggling with the first outfit you would see her in. And Mona May, the costume woman, was like, we had an outfit we both thought was pretty cool. And she goes, I can't sleep. She was like losing sleep over it. She'd come in and go, I couldn't sleep last night. I think she'll be overpowered by other people, that we've got to find something that's, you know. And then when she showed me that, it was like, yellow, yikes. That's really bold. But it was like,
yeah.
You know, but Alicia pulled it off.
Oh, definitely did. Yeah, yeah. And it, of course, turns into one of the most iconic looks.
Ew, get off of me. Ugh, as if.
We look at it and think, okay, TV series, books, off-Broadway show, rumors of a new series. What's the status of that?
They didn't tell me anything about it. I heard from my friends. They said, did you hear about this? And I was like, what?
Like, nope. Not.
But, you know, I'm not a movie studio, so it's their property and they could do certain things with it. And I could either, like, you know, and moan, or I could go, yay, mailbox money. I
think I would say, yay, mailbox money.
You know, you try to be positive. Anybody creating things, I mean, maybe Jane Austen would hear of this movie and go, you know.
I think you're right.
Who knows?
Are you in touch with many of the cast members? I know you just mentioned Alicia Silverstone. Is there anyone else that you kind of stay in touch with, or how's that played out?
Stacy and, you know, Alicia. Also, it's, you know, you interact with people on Instagram and stuff. But yeah, they'll, you know, we're in touch, and, you know, Paul Rudd, and, you know, I love all of them.
Well, thank you for taking some time, and thank you for giving all of us such a lovely, nice piece of pop culture history to escape into during these times. It is it's a relief, and it reminds us of simpler times.
Well, times are always complicated, but those were simple stories. Whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank
it's good to talk to you. And guys, Clueless is of course streaming now, and if you really want to celebrate the 25th anniversary, you can order the limited edition Blu-ray Steelbook July 21st. Keep that mailbox money coming.
All right, coming up next week, Ayesha Curry joins us. She is sharing how she incorporates healthy habits in her busy schedule and how you can too. Plus, actress Gillian Jacobs is teasing what fans can expect from season 2 of the popular scripted true crime podcast, Blood Ties. Very excited for that. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here on Monday.